An anchor trigger is a foundational trigger whereby it actually activates and triggers other triggers and can, in fact, make other triggers feel more intense. For me, my biggest foundational trigger is absolutely the fact that I almost died when I was 4.5 years old. I was hospitalized for pneumonia for 10 days, and they truly didn't know whether I was going to make it. And ever since that day, when I have specific health symptoms that you have when you have pneumonia, of which I've had much experience with, I would regress back to age 4.5, especially when it came to something like nausea to the extreme of vomiting. And so that has been a foundational trigger a lot of other things, and it's allowed me to unpack a lot of things and now to navigate that actual anchor trigger. So here we are going to pull through some information and see what source my guides, my team decide ought to come through right now for you, for us, for the collective about anchor triggers. Okay. So a lot of information is already coming through, so we're just going to start rattling it off. Here we go. So anchor triggers are a foundational trigger. That is something that we are choosing before we even come to this planet because they are for our growth and expansion. These are activations that put us into very specific directions where we have some really big life choices and experiences that really make sure that we stay on our path. And remembering that because we have free will, we have the opportunity to actually heal these anchor triggers and choose other directions. When it comes to figuring out your foundational trigger, you can actually sit with your experience and look for the patterns of what upsets you the most. What do you find, when you're experiencing traumatic experiences? What are the patterns? What are the trends? And how are you responding? Also, look at who it is that you are being triggered by. Are these people who are close to you? Are these people that you don't know? Are the things that you're being triggered by something that you can actually directly change? Is it something that you can challenge? Or is this something that is truly out of your control at large and it's something for you to flow in? When it comes to actually addressing and healing these triggers, it's important that you figure out what the anchor trigger is and then start to address the patterns and actually get support. Support, yes, within yourself and your team. This is also something that you can go to therapy. You can get support from those who are close to you. I'm really getting that for those who it's helpful to go into a group format. Support groups is a really great way because when one person shares their anchor triggers and how they got through it, that can actually activate your capacity to understand your anchor triggers better and how you can address them, as well as learning a lot of different tools really quickly. For me personally, I do not do well in such a big group environment. I'm better with one-on-one in a therapeutic aspect. Anchor triggers are not bad. These are major lessons, and although they may not feel good for you, once you have healed them, it feels like you have climbed the mountain. You've climbed Mount Everest, you have won the award, and these become really big checkpoints in your life. So take a look at your anchor triggers. Does this resonate with you? Do you notice any anchor triggers that you have? You may have one, you may have several. Chances are you don't have none because you would have had to clear all of that and a lot of other life experiences and lifetimes. If you have overcome your anchor triggers, you have the opportunity and the capacity to support others in finding and healing theirs. If you are a practitioner, note that the clients that are coming to you with anchor triggers, you cannot speed and bypass them to a higher ascension process. It's important to meet them where they are and first address the anchor trigger. I hope that this helps and resonates and supports you today, my friends. I know that this was huge for me. I had never thought of this concept of an anchor trigger. It makes total sense, and I have absolutely made huge strides to healing within and from my anchor triggers and through the anchor triggers and all of the triggers outside of it. And I have found that by addressing the big anchor triggers, the other triggers seem easier and they fall away. I hope that this helps you. Namaste, my friend.